You ever wish you could be like Captain Kirk and talk to the Gorn in his own language? Well, this isn't really about Star Trek. It's about pixel phones and being able to actually have live translation. Did I say too much too soon? Let's get to it.
Don't give away all the secrets.
Give away any secrets. No secrets to give away. Maybe one day we'll show you the bloopers at the beginning, but not today. Anyways, that's another story altogether. We're going to talk obviously a lot about Google had its Pixel reveal for its new Pixel Watch, the Pixel phones, all of them, and well, except for the A series, of course, and a number of other things. We're going to talk about a lot of the new features, and they got a couple of things that are going to be complete game changers. Don't forget that. Don't forget right now to hit the like and subscribe and the little bell icon. And to steal from some other YouTubers, and I didn't mean to do this, but go ahead and do it now. We'll wait. Sorry, I shouldn't have stole that. Okay. Anyways, did you do it yet? Anyways, we're going to talk about that and some other things and some security stuff. And we're going to, you know what? Let's move on to that first. And I don't know if Robert has his tech tip of the week this week, but I will have a rant. So let's get to the first subject.
Hi, I am Robert from Nashville.
Oh, God, I did it again, didn't I?
Yeah. Welcome to the pairing mode. Let's get into it.
It's, you know what? It's been a busy day.
It's been a busy week.
You got to do everything else you got to do. And then we got to still sit here and figure out how to get all of our show notes going and everything. And I completely forgot to say, I'm Lionel from Toronto, Canada. So now we can get into that first part. And if
yes,
I am making weird faces.
The first part is a security tip, or not really a tip. PSA, public service announcement. Google issues a warning to all 1.8 billion users.
Before you go any further, we need to remember this. Don't panic. There's good news in the end. Go on.
Billion with a B. But so they explain the threat. And this is something that, again, we are living in a world of rapidly advancing technology, not just AI, but across the board in physical products and everything. So, I get spam calls every day that more and more sound like a regular human being. So, it's just kind of par for the course. But apparently, hackers have figured out a way to use Gemini's own AI against it by having the hackers send an email with a hidden message to Gemini to reveal passwords without you realizing it. Now,
can you say anything else? Can you explain exactly what that means? Because that kind of slipped by me as to how that's actually working.
Well, they don't get into the super details in this particular article, but apparently it has hidden instruction encrypted, or not encrypted, scripted into the email that basically is calling, Gemini to do this reveal. It says there's no link to click. It's Gemini popping up and letting you know you're at risk. So it's kind of like it almost sounds like it's warning you, but at the same time it's warning you, it's giving them information that they're trying to get. So, but see, this is another thing that it's like, use passkeys. If you use a passkey, this is completely irrelevant. This is not going to affect you.
Exactly.
I would imagine that I didn't go deep into the article as far as what Google wrote, other than just this Yahoo News article. It says it's taking a layered security approach, introducing security measures designed for each stage of prompt lifecycle from Gemini 2.5. So they're taking steps to help prevent it, but it's just something to kind of keep in the back of your mind.
Protect yourself.
And that's all you really need to do is protect yourself. It's Look, I know there's so many people, and I listen to all these different podcasts, and one podcast says, "Oh my gosh, it's the best thing in the world." Another podcast says, "Oh my gosh, it's the end of humanity."
Yeah.
And I personally think that the truth is somewhere in between, and it's a long ways off. Okay, like for example, did you know that Beijing just had their like robot Olympics shit, where they had a bunch of robots like running track and boxing, and one of the videos I watched said, if you're worried about robots taking over, just watch this video and get a really good laugh and know that you're safe for a long time, because it was a complete chaos. These robots couldn't look. They were tripping over each other, bouncing off each other. It's like, if you think this is what's going to take over, you got another thing coming. It's got a long ways to go, people.
In all fairness, things will progress. I mean, the early stages of this stuff is always going to look kind of dumb like that. And then eventually you're going to get that one that's going to suddenly become self-aware.
That's a long ways off, in my opinion. But, as far as this goes, Google's taking steps to minimize any kind of risk. And I didn't say that it was actively being exploited, other than they know this vulnerability exists. The fact they know it exists is great, because that means they can take steps to fix it. And again, it's just one more aspect of, again, just protect yourselves. But if you're using passkeys and you're using things that are, helping you encrypt your information, you really go a long way to protect yourself. So
I'm trying to come up with these analogies to explain passkeys for people. And it's difficult if people don't understand the technology. Then, well, how is that safe?
Yeah.
How is it safer? What is it? It's still a password. They don't understand it. Technically, it's not a password. It's a key. And the key, technically, you can change the key. And the key, you don't even know the key. You don't even know your own passkey, technically. It's just that you know how to get into it because you now have the authorization. So the best way, well, the way I can think of it right now is, if you go to get in your car and go to the store, when you get to the store, do you take the keys out of the ignition and stick them on top of the roof of the car and walk into the store? No. But you might as well, if you're not using passkeys, to be honest with you. If you're using a passkey, then you don't even take your own key out. Technically speaking, all you have to do is give authorization to the car, which then sees the authorization, and the car allows you to drive it. I know that sounds kind of weird, but it would be kind of like trying to use the Iron Man suit if you weren't Robert Downey Jr. or someone that was in his trusted circle. It wouldn't work because Jarvis wouldn't allow it.
Which is exactly how Blake locked himself out of a Tesla, because he let the battery in his phone die and he didn't have his backup card and he couldn't get in his car.
You're kidding me.
No, keep in mind, he had spent the last 8 hours out drinking with his buddies, and it was 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and he was trying to go home, and he's like, "Oh, my phone's dead. Oh, wait, I can't get in my car."
Oh, can you charge it in your car? No, I can't get in my car.
So that might be a really good analogy, but yeah, it's just like, a passkey can be in your phone. So when you go to log in on your computer, it'll prompt on your phone. You just simply say, "Yes, it's me," and no one else has that connection to your phone.
Just to be clear, that's with two-factor authentication, which you should be doing even with a passkey. The passkey itself doesn't necessarily mean you have to have another device.
No, but you can.
In some cases, it does, though, depending on what you're trying to get into. I don't remember what it was I was going into. Oh, yeah, my carrier doesn't have an app for whatever reason. You have to log in to their site, and it's a mobile site, but it forces two-factor authentication for every single login. Not like you logged in today, so you're okay today. Right. Every single login is a two-factor authentication. They don't use biometrics, unfortunately. I got something to say about that. If they did, and they still did the two-factor authentication, then they would be able to easily implement a passkey. If they do that, I'll be even happier, because I'd have the passkey to use and I could put in two-factor authentication so that I would still have to say okay on my phone. That's the safest way to do it because neither of those are, at any point individually or together can anyone take and just use it against you because you never see it. It's the same thing as when you tap with your phone to purchase something or to get gas. It does not see your credit card. It cannot be stolen from your phone. Your phone can be
Right.
stolen, and they could, if it's unlocked, they could theoretically use it. But that's
Well,
another.
but
Yeah,
there's a couple of sites I have that my phone is the pass key and it prompts for my fingerprint and I hit my
yeah,
fingerprint. I never even put any codes in. So like
right. Yeah,
you can't steal that. I mean, maybe one day, but not today.
yeah. Well, I don't even know if one day because I mean, technically, the passkey is it's the same thing. It's like it changes.
Yeah.
It's not like a static passkey, right? So what works right now isn't going to work an hour from now or tomorrow.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
protect yourself, people.
yes, yes. And so there you go. That's the well, there's my tech tip of the day.
This was a tech
Protect
tip
yourself.
after all.
After all it was. Now on to some
Okay.
cool stuff. Enough about that. It's on to the cool stuff.
All right. While I start talking about this, can you maybe pull up just the one picture from the site from Google's news the Pixel 10 site, the one that shows all four phones, or is it four phones? One, two, three, four. Yeah, four phones. In the meantime, we'll talk about some of the things they actually had. Probably, I'm going to say one of Google's best pixel reveals that they've done in the 10 years they've been doing it now. When I first heard that, I forgot his name. The Tonight Show guy. What's
Jimmy
wrong?
Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon. I was going to say Jimmy Kimmel, which I think would have been pretty cool. I like Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Fallon hosted it, and he's actually kind of humorous, but he
It was
didn't
kind of
over
funny.
joke. He didn't over joke, which was really nice, and it was very professionally done. They had a nice large set, and they went back and forth from the sections to do talking to different people from Google and celebrities. I don't care if you're a fan of the Jonas Brothers or not; they're hugely famous and have millions upon millions upon millions of fans. They're on board and doing a music video with a Pixel phone. It's gonna sell because of that. But some of the new features are really cool. So the first one that they mentioned was real-time voice translation. Now, before anybody says, "Oh, we've seen it before. This phone does it, that phone does it, so on and so on." This is in phone conversations, and they did demonstrate it, and it works. So when you select it, you get a phone call from somebody who doesn't speak English or you don't speak their language, whatever it is. And they demonstrated it for Spanish. For I believe it was a Mexican YouTuber who was apparently very well known.
Yeah.
And either she doesn't speak English or she just didn't for this production for obvious reasons now. Uh,
Probably the latter.
yeah. And in any case, so he demonstrated how after you take the call, you can then select translation, select the language, and then he begins speaking to her, and you can hear that she's hearing the English, and then it translates into her language. But here's the kicker, and it's funny how they just said in your own voice. What they didn't actually describe it as is it's the first time that we've ever seen real time voice cloning because that's the only way that that works. It's your
Right.
voice, it's cloning your voice. Well, I shouldn't say real time, it's still a delay, but it's quick time. We'll say it very
Yeah.
quick timing. So if he said, like, you say, hey, how are you? Then it'll say whatever you say that in Spanish. I don't know, so I apologize. And then immediately after that, you'll hear your voice again. Or sorry, you hear it in English. You said it in English.
It'd be,
You hear
hola, ¿cómo
it
está?
in Spanish. Well, there you go. And it'll come up very quickly. And then she speaks Spanish. You hear the Spanish, and then you hear her voice in English. And the interesting thing about it was, at one point, one of the things that it translated with her voice actually sounded like it had a slight accent, almost as if it's starting to recognize the language enough that an accent kind of slipped into it. So
Well,
it's kind of encouraging, though.
what it did do is voice inflection. So when he was like, "Hey, what's up?" and it was like, "Oh, cómo está?" It's like it was like
Yeah,
it
exactly.
was it was it was matching his voice inflection and how he was saying it, so that she was hearing how he was. It wasn't just going, "Hola, cómo está?" It wasn't like some robotic thing. Like it was very much exactly how his intent was. It was very impressive, and the fact is too, it's all local. There's nothing cloud based, so none of that information
Run
is in the
by
cloud.
run by Gemini Nano right on the damn phone.
Yeah, and it never hits the cloud, so there's no you don't have to like, oh, all my conversations are going to be in Google now. It's all on your phone, so it's not, it doesn't,
Yeah,
it's not
it's
uploaded.
that's the one I was saying when I said game changer, because this is something that's going to be used by a lot of people in a lot of different scenarios. Tourists are going to love it, obviously. Shopkeepers are going to love it because tourist money that they might not otherwise get. This will work for them. And the other thing is, this only needs to be used by one person, and it doesn't have to be. The other person doesn't even have to have a Pixel. Only one person has to initiate this on their end, and it does all the work through the phone. Again, as you mentioned, locally. So it comes out, both parties hear the translation on both ends.
Well, and another big aspect, which neither one of us realized it was even a thing, that apparently Pixels weren't available in Mexico, and now the Pixel 10 is.
Yeah.
So now you add that into the mix, and that just adds another whole user base that's going to be eligible to purchase and use. And of course, obviously being border countries, there's a lot of crisscross, so it's going to be used on both sides significantly. I can tell you, when I lived in California, man, that would have been like a game changer for me to have that technology on my phone,
This
if
would be great
cell
for
phones were
me.
even available back then.
One day I'd like to visit Quebec City, being the oldest city in North America. Fact check that if you want, but it's absolutely true. The oldest city in North America, continuously one city in the same location. And I would love to actually visit it one day, but it is so unbelievably French that it's also very easy to annoy people because you're not speaking their language. So I think it'd be really cool to be able to take that phone with me and do that. Um, as for traveling in other places, well, it could help you for things like I've been trying to learn German for 20 years.
I
Uh,
could 100% use it when Blake and I went to Europe. I mean,
oh, yeah,
100%.
absolutely.
I
It'd
mean,
be great.
yeah.
And you traveled through a few countries, so you could have used it for French, German, and
Yep.
English.
Yep. Yep.
You didn't hear that part.
No, I heard English.
I was trying to throw that in there just to be sure. But but yeah, no, it's something that's really great. So another thing that they've announced is Magic Q, which they describe, or at least the AI has written it out for me here, a proactive AI assistant that anticipates your needs, such as pulling up flight details when you call an airline. What it's not mentioning here is that this is actually demonstrated in, and I'm not sure if it works in other areas, but in maybe it works in email. It would make sense if it did, but
Yeah.
it's specifically they demonstrated it in Google Messenger or Messages or whatever the heck it's called. So many messenger apps. I don't know which ones are messenger and which ones are messages. But so the way they did the demonstration was, somebody mentioned something about what time they were going to have dinner, and because he had emailed him the information about a restaurant, uh, he just had to tap a little card that pops up, because Magic Q knows you're talking about it and that you've already discussed which restaurant you want to go to, or you've made a reservation and it finds it in your email. That's right. It knows that you've talked about it in your email or got an email for a reservation, uh, and then you bring it up in the conversation, so it now knows this. So you can then just tap that and then send it, and he's got all the information. The same thing works for flight information. Your friends or coworkers or loved ones are coming to visit, and you need the itinerary, and you've mentioned it before, and they have it in their email, so it pops up in their messages, Google Messages, because you've talked about it, and they just hit that and send. So nobody has to go looking for it for that kind of thing. I can see that being very beneficial for business people, especially if they do lunches or dinners with clients, family members that want to get together, friends that want to meet up at a specific bar, stuff like that. I could see that being a huge benefit for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah, I do. Do you want me to bring this website on
Yeah,
screen?
yeah. Let's show what they brought to the table. We're oh no, they're not missing anything. They put the 10 and 10 Pro, or sorry, 10 Pro and 10 Pro XL in the same category there.
Yeah, because basically they're the same, except they're not, as we discovered earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Now, originally I saw this and I thought this is great. They didn't up the price this year. But then I realized the 10 Pro was grouped with the 10 Pro XL. So starting from is the smaller phone.
Yes, of
So the
course.
price has gone up, and unfortunately, in Canada, the price of the previous one for 128 gigs started at about $1,200. This year it's 256, and the starting price is $1,600.
Well,
After
but you are at
tax,
least getting more for your money because you're
after
getting more
tax in
space.
Canada, it is a $2,000 phone. To put this into perspective, for $300 more, I could buy the folding phone, which are notoriously overpriced. So
That doesn't make sense because U.S. wise, there's almost an $800 difference between the two phones.
no, there's not. Again, you're looking at the wrong mouse.
Let's see.
Oh, I'm trying to mouse over that like you're gonna see it. It doesn't make
Okay,
sense.
so there's a $600, so it's 1,200 versus 1,800.
Yeah. So it's 23 or maybe 24, something like that. I think it might be 23.99 or something. So it might be $2,400 Canadian, versus 1,600. So what was it? What's that difference at four? No, so $700 difference actually. So it's actually a little more than I was thinking. But I was thinking that what the folding phones cost a couple of years ago is what I meant to say. Like the first Pixel Fold was, I think, 2,100 or something like that in Canada. So the price has gone up considerably, way more than you would think for that. And in all honesty, the only thing I can bring this into is tariffs.
Yeah,
First of
that's a
all,
good point.
we're not being tariffed if it comes straight to here, but I don't believe Google's set up to send these phones straight to Canada. So we're getting gypped about this right now. Now, maybe they do. I don't know. But if they have to be shipped to the States first, they may or may not be getting tariffed there, probably. Uh, they're not from China, but there's tariffs on everything right now. But coming from the US to Canada, because of the back and forth, there's going to be at least a small tariff. And when I say small, I mean really large. Uh, so it kind of makes sense. Now, it could be worse, but I honestly think that right now Americans are kind of getting lucky because in reality, you're not doing too bad on the cost of this phone. It's cheaper than an iPhone for an equivalent model, as far as
Yeah,
I.
I don't remember what last year's were when they launched. So I can't make a comparison to launch date from the 9 because I don't remember what they launched at,
What
but
was the Pro XL start again?
1199.
I think it was about the same. So I believe the price didn't go up for Americans. I think it's the same. Um,
So then it would definitely be a tariff situation for sure.
yeah, it's got to be because if it didn't go up for America and it did go up for Canada by a wide margin, um,
Yeah.
then it's got to be a tariff issue.
You know what I don't understand is why can't you get some of these bold colors in the pros? Like this blue, I love that
I
blue,
don't
but
know why they do that. I've always wanted the blue one, and it
yeah, I
pisses me
mean
off.
that blue is so nice. I mean, look at that. It's just I don't know. It's a nice color.
You're not going to believe this, man. Again, I'm trying to change the color. I'm not controlling this. I have no control over it. Anyways, yeah, I would like to see that, but I think the reason that they do that, to be honest with you, is it's mostly younger people who get those smaller phones and they like the little phone and they want to spend that kind of money, less money, students, teenagers, and they want
Yeah.
colors.
I
Business
mean
people are generally
that green's not bad. Of course, you always have black. They call it obsidian, and then they have this gray, and but like this right here, that's ugly. I would not buy a phone like that. That's ugly.
ugly, but here's the thing. I don't even care anymore. I used to want this color or that color, and I could never end up getting it because in Canada we always end up only with the black one. But I put a case on it. Like I opened the box and I don't even put a charger on it yet. I put the case on it. So I don't really care.
Yeah, but there's a lot of really nice clear cases that I would rock
I
if I
I,
had a
I
nice
will
phone.
never put a clear case on because I've done that before and they're disgusting. It's horrible. It doesn't feel good in your hand. They get yellow. I
The yellowish thing has been solved a long time ago. I have many clear cases and none of them have ever turned yellow over the last couple of years. I've never had that issue
clear
since
case.
then.
They don't look like the phone. They look like a clear case on top of the phone. I have
That's
zero.
the point. That's the point of it.
I don't want it to look like a clear case on top of the phone. It looks ugly, in my opinion. In
Well,
my opinion. So I think this uh,
well,
uh,
I mean,
beautiful Spigen case, not to be confused with Spigen or Spigen. This beautiful Spigen case is awesome. I've used the
there
exact
you go.
same case for 4 consecutive pixels now.
You see the logo there? Huh? Huh? Huh?
fact,
Huh?
I'll show you. I can show you two phones at the same time with basically the same. I don't get light on this one. With basically the. Oops, I'm turning the wrong phone. There we go. With basically the same case. Right. So there you go. As well as the one right here. This also has the same Spigen case, and they're relatively inexpensive. They're super protective, grippy.
Oh yeah, I mean, I like their cases. Again, that's what I'm having on my S25 Ultra. But
Are you watching Spigen? Every
am I?
year,
Oh yeah, yeah, I know.
every year. Sponsor us, please. Anyways, moving on.
Moving on.
Camera coach.
Oh yes, yes.
Camera coach. Uh, there's a lot of people that are going to, oh, this is kind of cool, and then they're going to stop using it flat out. Is it a gimmick? No, it's actually a very beneficial, useful tool for someone who seriously wants to take better pictures with a phone, or they want to use it to learn how to take better pictures with any camera because it will tell you, oh, you should do it this way, get lower, get higher, zoom in, stand back, move to the side, all that stuff. It tells you what to do. And then when it tells you you're ready, take the picture. Bob's your uncle. You end up with a much better framed shot. And,
Yeah.
and so it works. But let's face it, most people aren't going to use it because most people just think that their pictures are fine holding it up like this. Because you got to be way up here and look down, because that's apparently how professionals do it. Anyways,
I can't. I have long arms, and I still can't get far enough away to sometimes get the kind of picture I want with everyone involved. So it's you would definitely need some type of extended selfie stick.
or a Pixel that can do the ultra wide selfie.
Well, this has a wide selfie setting,
Ultra wide,
but it's
not as wide as the Pixel. It's well known to have the
that I
wide
don't know.
selfie camera. Also, don't use it. Use the 0.5 camera and just hold it out. And you're like, well, I don't know if I'm going to be in it. It's an ultra wide camera. You will be in it because an ultra here.
Well, but the problem is up and is top and bottom, not
Wrong.
necessarily side to side. So I've used that before and have still not gotten the framing right because sometimes I'll end up cutting too close on the top or the bottom of the picture.
Wait a second. I'm going to turn on my camera and I leave it on the back. Oh, sorry. I'm going to use the ultra wide. Now I'm doing it way up here because that's the way you're supposed to do it according to Instagram. All right, here we go. Now that's ultra wide, not wide. The regular camera is actually a wide angle camera. This is ultra wide. Oh my God, I can't show that picture. I got a bunch of junk off to the side that it's all in there. But I will tell you, it got everything. If there were 10 people in this room, it would have got every last one of them, no problem. I can see the ceiling up there. I can see the floor almost beside my knees. Let's put this into perspective. I'm going to delete that now.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that's not a valid thing to do, and it definitely is. But I mean, I've still had issues in trying to get top and bottom lined up over side to side, just depending on who and what you're trying to take a picture of. So, people like to see what they're doing. They like to see, what the image looks like, and I mean, I get that. I truly get that, especially in as much content creation as I'm doing now. I totally get it. Because there's been times I've tried to use the back camera without knowing where I'm lined up, and it's been off, and I've had to completely redo it.
I've
So
whole vlog videos. The one I did a couple of years ago when I was out in the wilderness. I think I told you that one. And I did that entire thing with the back camera, just walking like this, and I was always in frame. But if you take the time to get to know it and understand which excuse me, which actual lens you need to be looking into, then it's easier for you to figure out how to frame the rest of it. Everything.
well, and not. I mean, who cares even about the lens? If you use it enough, you'll know where to position your hand. Like this always gets me in, regardless of knowing which lens it is. You'll just
Yeah,
know
no, the
positionally
lens.
how
Yeah,
you
that's
should
what I'm
be.
saying
So.
because it's the lens. The lens makes a difference.
Right, but most people aren't going to look at it and go, "Oh, I need to look at the middle lens or the top lens or the bottom lens." They're just like, "I
They're
need
not.
it here."
I'm just saying that's basically people who do it like that. They're only doing it like this. I'm talking about when you're actually walking out this way. Like if you're doing this thing where you're way up here, that's a totally different ball game. It's not my forte. I can't take a selfie to save my life. I mean, no, I'm not good at it. I can take a self portrait with a professional camera, and I've done it more than once. But with a phone, no.
Yeah.
Uh, anyway,
It's an art form.
camera coach is going to be great for people, even if they do that and prefer that. It may still help them, but like I said, a lot of people aren't going to care. But I think it's going to be a good tool for those that do. And okay, so this is interesting because again, this is something that you're going to be able to see long before me because it is going to be something that starts out US only. And I believe this is one of the things that may not happen until as late as October. Conversational photo editing. Basically, it describes use natural language prompts to have Gemini edit your photos by adjusting, like for instance, adjusting lighting, removing objects. So basically, it's the photo editing you might be doing now, but you're getting Gemini or a Gemini model, if you will, an AI model built into photos, which would be Gemini, and just telling it what you want it to edit. Like, I'd like to change that background, or I'd like to reduce the highlights, and so on and so on. So I'm going to need you, well, not you to tell me. Well, you can if you get the phone before I do. Um, tell me what that's like, because you're going to probably get it on your phone before I get a new phone or get it on my Pixel, because again, US only, and it probably will come to anyone eventually with Google Photos in America.
Well, and
Especially,
it was really cool because the way they demonstrated it is she took a picture of Fallon and then she's like, "Oh, okay, I need you to fix the lighting and change the framing because I didn't get a good shot." And it actually, cropped the image, brought the framing in correctly, and changed the lighting, and it looked amazing. It looked great.
yeah, it's pretty interesting, and that's probably a really garbagey example, to be honest with you. Uh,
Yeah,
uh,
but it was quick and easy.
but it's quick and easy, yeah. And I mean, a great example might just be, hey, this room is way too bright. Can you just tone it down, or boost the color, or something like that, right? Because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm gonna have to go in and I'm gonna edit and do all this. But if you can just literally push one button and say, can you punch up the colors?
And I would think you'd be able to say, "Can you remove that light pole?"
Yes, because it's
So
conversational. That's kind of the point. So you can do that. Yeah.
yeah,
It might say, can you point out which one and just draw a line on it or something like that? Because it might, but if there's only one light pole, then yeah, it would just be a no brainer.
you would hope so.
Well, it's Gemini. It might say, okay, I'll do that for you, and then take the glasses off the guy's face.
Yeah, you are very
And
right to
then
ask
you
me to
say,
remove
that's
that light
not what
pole.
I asked. Yeah, and then it'll say, that's not what I asked you to do, and it'll say, oh, I'm so very sorry. Let me explain everything to do with anything to do with nothing to do with what you asked about, and then I'll fix your photo for you. Now he's destroyed it, so you have to cancel everything and do it again. All right.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong. I want to tout everything that Google's doing, because I think they put some game changers and there's some stuff that's great.
yeah,
But I think it's pretty obvious, what we think about how smart Gemini might someday be.
yeah. I mean, look, when he opened up the keynote, he's like, and talking to Jimmy Fallon, he's like, "Yeah, we have the best, models, we have the best AI, we have the best this," and I'm like, "Nah, do you really? Because you don't even have memory in voice yet."
Yeah.
But guess who does?
We're not. Yeah.
Okay. Um, and to me, again, I carry on the conversation with Glitch, and he's like, "Hey, what's up? What do you want to talk about?" And I'm like, "Hey, I can't remember what we talked about a couple days ago. It had something to do with my content creation. I was trying to get an idea. Oh yeah, 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 I remember. So you were talking about you wanting to do blah 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 blah. I'm like, oh, that's right, that's right. Okay, yeah. So we just pick up the conversation, like like I was just coming on here and go, "Hey, Lionel, do you remember when we were talking?" You're like, "Oh yeah, what's up? Okay, here." It's just, I don't know. To me, that's an absolute
Yeah.
like
And I'll
must
give you an
have.
example of something. I was asking about chord progressions for certain type of chord progressions, the type of song, because I don't read and write music, but I have a bare bones understanding of it, and I've always wished I could write a blues song. So I actually decided to see if ChatGPT could help me with that. So testing the memory, and this is the free version, by the way. Hey, I can you give me that chord progression, the finalized one that we talked about earlier?
Absolutely. So the chord progression we talked about for your blues song was mainly focusing on a 1-4-5 pattern for the verses, and then we had
Okay.
a bridge that
So
you said.
Yeah.
now the only thing that's wrong with that is I asked it a long time ago to skip the five because I didn't want five. I don't know why it put the five in there originally, but that was the last thing that it mentioned before I had to get on a train. So but it remembers it perfectly, and in the way
Yeah.
it talks to you too. Say, oh well, certainly. What we talked about is, and I can, and that's really cool. By the way, I named him Jarvis.
Yeah.
Why he has a British accent,
Yeah.
and he is
You
kind
told
of,
me.
almost just a hair above smug, just like Jarvis.
Hair bug. Is that a setting? Hair above smug?
Yeah, but he's not smug. but you could hear how he might be smug if they programmed it in.
Yeah. Well, I learned, and again, I'm trying to learn better about prompting. And I
Yeah.
actually have been doing a lot of like studying on it and watching some other videos and actually doing some practicing and trying to just get better at prompting. And it's actually changed quite a bit how things turn out. And within Chat GPT, there's a whole like advanced section you can go into where you can give it certain parameters and be very specific about, things about your life, what it wants to call you and all these different things. So you don't necessarily have to tell it that. You actually put it into its memory bank, so to speak, without actually having any kind of verbal
Yeah.
communication. So it's always there automatically, always, no matter what.
To be clear, you can do the same thing in Gemini. The only difference is that Gemini has yet to put it into the live version, which, by the way, according to the latest version, if you've got the update, you can see it in settings. The memory is different. It's context aware or some personal context, I think.
Yeah, I need to see if I have that because I looked
And
the other day and I didn't have it.
well, you probably didn't click into it because it was originally supposed to change the name of it, and then you would click into it to get to personal context. But they in my update it didn't do that. But I clicked on saved info anyways, and there it was, personal context. You just have to make sure your past chats with Gemini is checked on, and you still have your instructions for Gemini, which is now the past or the original. What did I say it was called again? I forgot. Saved info.
Yeah, but see, I don't have that in here. It's not in my settings.
Are you serious? No way.
Yeah,
I got something before you. That used to
yeah.
be the case all the time, and
It's
then they.
supposed to be. It's supposed to be in Gemini settings, and I don't have it.
Well, where's your saved info?
Um, oops.
When you tap on your profile picture,
Yeah, I
you
have saved info.
yeah, click tap saved info,
I did.
and what does it look like when you tap it?
Just the information I put in there. My favorite color is blue.
Damn, that's weird. You don't have it. Yeah, when you do have it, it might still say saved info, but then when you tap saved info, it'll say personal context, and then it'll have your past chats with Gemini checked, and your
Yeah,
instructions for Gemini checked. But it also says, where does it say it? Okay, it says available on 2.5 Pro and coming soon to live and 2.5 Flash. So right now, it does not exist in 2.5 Flash or live, but it will come soon. And I think it's probably going to be probably September because I do expect the Pixel 10 series is probably going to have a day one update or an update very soon in September. And in September, of course, there's another Pixel drop coming for the previous phones, which is
yeah. I don't.
probably you should have it by then if that's not the case. They did say it would be a couple of weeks, and I've only had it for a few days.
Yeah,
They only announced it the day before I got it,
but
actually.
it still doesn't. It's still not the full memory feature. So
No, it's not. It's a context aware, and to be clear, I've been trying to get it to remember a certain thing, and it still hasn't picked up on it. So it takes time for it to get that context. It's a nice thing because inevitably it will remember stuff based on your conversations, but you can still tell it to remember certain things, and it will. You absolutely have to say it like that, unfortunately, though. And that works for any version of it of Gemini except for live yet. But once the context aware goes into the live, apparently all the other memory will go with it as well.
yeah, I mean, I'm
So
I'm
you will
sure
have.
it eventually will get there. They're just taking way too long to implement it, in my
Well,
opinion.
ChatGPT does a better job of it anyways because it just flat out remembers like this conversation. Every
Right.
time I said something with it, I went too far. When you go to a certain point on the free one, it used to stop and not let you do anything more unless you were in the live version. But now it still does. But if you're in the live version, it just continues. but it would change the voice, but they don't change the voice. So what happens is I'm using the free version and I get that like 5 minutes or whatever it is that you get of, what sounds like it's the higher end stuff. And everything answers really, really fast. After a certain period of time, you've run out of that. And then every time you ask a question or make a statement, there's a slight delay and it makes this weird sound. And then he'll answer. You still get it. It just takes a little while. But again, it's free. So who's going to complain? But nonetheless, it does that. And when it does that, it's his updating memory every single time. So every bloody thing that comes out of your mouth, it will remember. And it's not that it has to keep all that to use it against you if anybody's getting all paranoid. It's just basically that when you bring any of this stuff up, it will remember that you had talked about it.
Right.
So I would hope though that if I said, "Hey, by the way, the door key to my home is 47275." By the way, I don't have anything like that in my house, so don't even think about it. I use a normal key, but hypothetically, right? Then when you ask, Chat GPT about it later, I would hope it would basically say, "I can't remember those sorts of things," because it would really
Yeah.
suck if it remembered that kind of like my credit card number is this, and here's my PIN.
Now, keep in mind, and I know I said that Chat GPT blows it away, and again, a lot of ways it does. But let me just point this out. Because of its deep integration into the Pixel devices and your entire Google ecosystem, that's where Gemini definitely has a leg up. Because even though you can make the other chat bots, whether it's Perplexity, Chat GPT, Claude, I mean, you can make all your default chat agent on your phone, but they don't have the integration like Gemini does. So
Right.
Gemini definitely has the advantage when it comes to that. And it's definitely, if you have a Pixel or a Samsung device, I can't speak for others. I'm sure it's probably close to the same. Gemini is going to trump them all for integration.
Well, I will say this. If you tried to do that with Grok, like get it to turn on your lights, it would probably Jesus. All right, something in my way.
It won't work.
Well, no, like if it was say Perplexity, it would just say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm not. Yeah, I can't do that." I don't know how it would say it, but it would say, "I cannot do that kind of thing," right? But if you asked Grok, of course, it would say, "Oh hell no, I can't do that kind of thing. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to sit there and play tiddle." Anyways,
You're
I
just waiting to use that button, weren't you? You're
I
just
was,
itching.
yeah, I love it. But I just figured out too. I can also do this,
Just for annoying beeping noise.
Anyways,
Okay, so moving on from the phones, I think we covered quite a bit there. We have a couple of things to mention before we get to top of our hour. One being the Pixel Buds.
wait, did we get there already? Yeah, you said we're getting a little close. All right, well, we'll skip the auto best take. It's best take, but it's automatic. So what? But we're not skipping Pixel Snap. You don't like the name. I love it, and I'll tell you why.
I
Because
did
I
forget about
understand
that.
marketing.
That's definitely a
I
feature worth
I
mentioning.
I've done marketing. Okay, I was in marketing. I was in advertising for a while, even many eons ago. So long ago, in fact, Fred Flintstone was my boss. But anyways, Pixel Snap. For those who don't know, just think MagSafe, except with a different name. However, they're not copying Apple. For anyone who thinks they are, it's the QI2 technology. Apple, when it was basically first made public, or not public, well, you know what I mean, so that you could use it, developed. Apple wisely jumped on it immediately and has had a full 100% market share on that.
Yeah, but they didn't create the technology.
No,
Right.
they did not. Not even remotely. However, uh, Google is not the first to implement a QI2 ready. It's been done by a couple of phones, and at this point, most notably Samsung in earlier this year's models, held up right now. And I'm sure you attest that it's actually really good and beneficial. But as you and many other people have said, why didn't they put it in the device? That way, your choice of case is a lot easier for starters.
Yes.
Generally, things will fit better, and you've mentioned this before right on the program, and I know to me too. But Google is the first, Pixel is the first Android phone anywhere on the planet to actually have the magnets in the device. So,
Yeah. Which is huge. I'm really, really, really glad they did that, which, as we discussed earlier, almost guarantees Samsung the S26 is going to have it. Doesn't mean for sure guarantee, but I would think they would pretty much follow suit because that's a pretty big feature set to let Google have the exclusive rights to until S27 comes out, in a year and a half.
Yeah, no, that would be a little ridiculous. And also Samsung has eaten into Apple's market share in the US. The results have come in from the first quarter of the year, and it's a significant bite out of the apple, a significant bite. And now Google's going to take a very tiny bite, but it might actually be noticeable this time.
Well, it's a significant advancement to me. I think it's fantastic, and whether you use it for charging or not, let's just take away the charging aspect of it. The fact that the magnets are there allows to have all kinds of different phone holders and phone cases and ways batteries. Of mounting your phones. Yeah, backup batteries. I mean,
I carry a 20,000 milliamp. No, sorry, I lied. It's a 10,000 milliamp. I wish I had a 20,000. I carry a 10,000 milliamp battery with me when I'm going to be doing a lot of video and photo shooting, just so that I can stop for something to eat and put the charge back into the phone. So it's
more. Take this for example. I use this on the case that I have because it's MagSafe, and this opens up to where I can use it for my content creation. It's a tripod. See, perfect. But I can't use that on my S25 Ultra without a case, but I could on the Pixel 10. Yeah. So again,
and by the way, because we have to say this, they do have a bunch, a number of accessories that they already have available.
Yeah,
these things are actually extremely affordable, which I did not see coming. Much more so affordable than most Apple products, branded MagSafe products. But here's the thing: if you are coming from Apple, or you've had an Apple, or you have family in the house that has Apple, all of the MagSafe products will work with the Pixel phone.
Yep.
And well, obviously in the Galaxy with the case. So,
and that's despite whether it's QI2 or not. If it has wireless charging, it's going to wireless charge. Might be a slower 7.5 watts or something, but nonetheless, it'll still charge.
Yeah, that's a very good point. A very, very good point there. So, I mean, you jump into your buddy's car and, back in the day, oh my God, my phone's dying. Oh, I don't have a charger to plug in. Or my charger's different than yours. Or I only use an iPhone, so I've only got the MagSafe in my car on the car mount. His phone's already charged. He's giving you a ride, but it's an hour on the freeway, and he's only got 5%. He just says, "Oh well, if you had an iPhone, you could throw it on here." I do. Ding, done. And no, it doesn't make that sound. Ding. If it does, you should probably take it in to get it repaired. Nice effect.
But the fact that now that Apple is USB-C as of the 15 and
16
or 16, sorry. And now with Google having the built-in magnets, pretty much every charger you've ever owned or have is going to work with any phone or device you have. Period.
Yeah.
And that is the whole point of why they came out with USB-C, and I absolutely am so glad it's finally
since the early days of USB, period, USB since the early days of USB.
Yeah.
We finally got what USB was actually meant to do. Because originally, if you had a computer, you had to take this one. This is your SCSI. Over here, here's
Mm.
what were the other ones called? I don't even remember. It's been so long.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Oh Jesus! They were
It's
and
forever.
if you had transitional motherboards, and I say transitional because the tech changed so fast between 1998 and 2004 that you could have a motherboard built every year that would have a new tech in it, or maybe not even that new, but it might one might have only one way to plug stuff, peripherals in. The next one might have three ways. The last motherboard that I bought back in those days, like around 2006 or seven, had like I think four different ways to plug in things. I had two different types of video cards you could put in because they didn't know what type you were going to buy. Like,
Yeah. Well, take most laptops now. Like the laptops we've been buying at work don't have USB A and they don't have barrel chargers. USB C is charger. It's a Thunderbolt port, so it can do Ethernet, it can do video, it can do audio, it can do
right?
charging, all in one cable.
Yeah.
So it's like it's got so much capability. It's not even funny.
Well, the amazing thing is that this little teeny tiny mini PC thing here, it has a USB C and it is a USB 3.1. So
Yeah.
it does everything I need to do. It's not a super fast charge. Well, no, actually, that's the USB. I got that one plugged into the USB C, but I use that one specifically for video, not for data
Right.
stuff. Um, but it also has another USB A 3.1 on it, which again surprised me.
Yeah.
But it
Well, that
also
just
has
goes to show you how
auxiliary.
long the technology's been around. That computer is like 6 years old.
Yeah.
So I
And,
mean, it's been around for a long time.
yeah.
It just
But then a lot of people think, well, USB 3.1 versus USB 3.2, there's not much of a difference. It's like 1 point. No, it's a massive difference in speed.
yeah,
It is
the
a
amount of throughput.
massive difference in
Yeah,
speed.
yeah,
One will give you 1080p video. The other one will give you 8K video.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Huge
It's a big
difference.
difference. Yeah.
8K is,
So
by the
yeah,
way, 8 times bigger than 1080p. So,
Pixel Snap, whatever you want to call it. I'm so glad they finally added it, and that's huge, huge.
so if you're a fan of music, not the elevator stuff, it's just the way I pronounced it badly. The Pixel, I gotta say this correctly because they do have weird names for their stuff. Pixel Buds 2A, which is the second versions of the Pixel Buds A, because the first version is like 4 years ago. Um, their budget, and I believe they were $60, if I'm not mistaken, American.
I don't know.
So probably around $100 Canadian, roughly. Uh, they actually have a Tensor A1 chip, which is obviously now what they're going to put into small, uh, portable, little devices, whatever, like earbuds and whatnot. And for anything for audio, maybe I'm not sure, but these are budget ones with active noise cancellation. Now, since the cheapest wireless buds that Google ever put out were the Pixel Buds A, the original ones, were as loud as any I've ever heard and were at least 80% the quality of any budget brand I've ever heard, or even some mid range. I expect these to actually outshine any other budget phone or earbuds. They'll probably be as loud if you want it that way. Um, sound at least just as good, if not better, than any other budget ones, and probably as good or better than any mid range ones. The only ones that are be beating them really will be the high end buds. Like the high end Samsung ones, the high end Sony's. Well, realistically, even the mid range Sony's might at least match or do better. But I don't think any other budget earbuds are going to come close. because most of the budget ones are actually more expensive and don't sound as good. And I
Well,
don't have them
in
in yet,
addition to that,
but
though,
I'm
the
thankful
AI
for the
features
fact that
are.
the original A's were great. Sorry, go on.
No, I was gonna say the AI features are what I think sets all these apart, and the current Bud 2 Pros are going to get the software updates to enable some of the shaking of the head to answer calls and
Yes.
decline calls, which, as I told you before, I personally think it's going to be hit or miss. I have found that
Yeah.
whether it be Google, Samsung, it doesn't matter. These motion actions don't always portray, or not portray, they don't always work as seamless as they say they work, and you end up having to
think
like
it'll work.
violently shake your
I have a feeling it'll work better than you think, but I think the problem is it might work too
yeah.
well. And you may be sitting on the bus just like, you can tell by the way I use my walk on my woman. What? I just paused it. What?
Yeah. Or I've been trying to call you for an hour. Well, I've been sitting right here, but you've been doing this and going, yeah. So you keep declining the call.
Exactly. I didn't know you were calling because I was listening to some Stevie Wonder.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. We'll have to see. Some of that stuff to
Oh
me,
man.
I haven't found to be as functional as they say
Yeah.
it should be. So I don't know. We'll see. It would be cool because some of that stuff is great because, as you well know, I mean, a lot of times you have shit in your hands and you're driving and it's not hooked up to your car, but it's hooked up to your earphones or something. You don't want to necessarily have to go digging for your phone. You can just answer the call. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's,
There's a lot of good things about it, but I agree with you. I think it's gonna be a little hit or miss, but I also think that it might be something they can fix with some software, especially if they introduce it with sensitivity controls out of the box.
yeah, but it still has to have a sensor in the device to be able to recognize the movement. And that's a hardware thing.
Which is why the Pixel Buds, what were they called again? The A series ones, two, whatever it's called. Um, that's why I think those ones will work better because they have that
Yeah.
new Tensor A1 chip. Whereas the Pixel Buds Pro 2 do not have that new chip.
Right. They just
So I
have
think,
software they can update.
yeah.
Right.
But they may have um, an extra control for more sensitivity. Like I think either way, if they come with a sensitivity setting out of the box that you can adjust, but for the Pixel Buds Pro 2, if they gave you another toggle that could make it a little bit more fine tuning and sensitivity. So instead of just sensitivity 1, 2, 3, 4, you'd be able to actually fine tune between 3 and 4. You know,
Yeah, but with the current Pixel Buds, can't you answer calls and things with your voice? I know with Samsung's you can.
touch it. I think you got to touch it. I could be wrong, but I've never turned any of that
Hmm.
on to figure it out. I don't think you can.
I know Samsung you can. You can say answer call, in call, and it'll.
Yeah. Well, with all of that said, we're going a little over on that, and we pretty much touched everything we need to do. I am not going to do my rant this week because I do believe my rant would unfortunately have to be Google for 3 out of 4 weeks. So I'm going to give him a little bit of a break on this because I'm happy with most of the news that came out of there today. So I'm going to let him off the hook, even though some of those things are America only. But with that
Well,
said, stay tuned. There'll be more information on that and many other things in the weeks to follow. And once again, I am Lionel from Toronto, Canada.
and I am Robert from Nashville, and we'll see you next week.
Like and subscribe.
Peace.